A portion of today's video is brought to you by Zippix nicotine toothpicks. For more information on them, stick around until the end of this video, or if you're champing at the bit, click the link in the description below. There has been a tremendous amount of talk about constitutional crises after Donald Trump took office. About what we would do if he started ignoring federal court rulings. What would we do if he ignored the Supreme Court of the United States? And here we are. We've been here for months now, over 80 days of Donald Trump's presidency, and it seems just one ignoring of federal courts and the Supreme Court after another. Right now, we're talking about Abrego Garcia, a man who resided in the United States legally for 14 years, no criminal record, no gang affiliations, and offered no due process before he was shipped off to an El Salvadoran prison. And Nayib Bukele, the president of El Salvador, doing his best Andrew Tate impression, appeared in the Oval Office with Donald Trump yesterday. And we're in a situation right now where they are ignoring, here's the headline from CNBC. Supreme Court rules U.S. must facilitate return of Kilmar Abrego Garcia from El Salvador. Your key points here: the Supreme Court upheld a lower court order that the Trump administration facilitate the return of Abrego Garcia, a Maryland man who was forcibly deported to El Salvador. He's being held in this prison, but the Supreme Court in its decision told a federal district court judge in Maryland to clarify his order that the administration effectuate the return of Abrego Garcia. And Donald Trump is ignoring this. And yesterday in the Oval Office, both the Andrew Tate impersonator, fascist douche, president of El Salvador, and Donald Trump, they want it both ways. When asked of the administration, hey, what are you going to do about the Supreme Court order? Donald Trump tossed it to Pam Bondi, and they said, well, we can't force them. He's right there in front of them. We can't force him to return him. And then when asked about it, the El Salvadoran president says, look, what am I going to do? Smuggle him into the country? You're all right there. You could have a conversation. You could settle this matter. You could abide by the ruling of the United States Supreme Court, and before that, a federal district court, but you're not doing that. Ignoring the Supreme Court of the United States, all because they gave him the power of kingship. He is immune from prosecution, immune from consequence. Why would he abide by their order? They have no mechanism by which they can force his hand. But eggs were expensive, y'all. Get a load of this. We're going to play this first. This is, by the way, this is the new way things work in the Oval Office. Donald Trump with his nurse, whether it be the dipshit who explains the executive orders and the presidential memorandums that he signs, or the new way, where he's just surrounded by people he can toss to have them explain rather than he explain, because he doesn't know anything about what's taking place. Or it gives him the ability to deny, thought, Pam Bondi said that. I didn't say that. Anyway, watch this. We're going to play both of these moments where the U.S. denies that they have any ability to bring Abrego Garcia back, and also the president of El Salvador.
How important is it for you to send? Go ahead. Let's hear the question from this very low-rated anchor at CNN.
Do you plan to ask President
Low-rated.
Bukele to help return the man who your administration says was mistakenly
Which one is that?
deported? The man who was mistakenly deported to El Salvador?
Well, let me ask Pam. Would you answer that question?
Sure, President.
Was that Pam Bondi saying, sure, President? Hey, Attorney General, would you explain this for me? Because I'm a dumb who doesn't know how to do it. Yeah, explain it. Sure, President. These people. All right, back to her answer, where she just openly admits they're going to ignore the ruling from the highest court in our land, the United States Supreme Court.
Sure, President. First and foremost, he was illegally in our country. He had been illegally in our country. And in 2019, two courts, an immigration court and an appellate immigration court, ruled that he was a member of MS-13 and he was illegally in our country. Right now, it was additional paperwork that needed to be done. That's up to El Salvador if they want to return him. That's not up to us. The Supreme Court ruled, President, that if, as El Salvador wants to return him, this is international matters, foreign affairs, if they wanted to return him, we would facilitate it, meaning provide a plane.
So will you return him,
And
President?
you are doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank
ma'am.
That's up to El Salvador if they want to return him. That's not up to us. So the U.S., powerless in this moment. The most powerful country, the most economically secure country, cannot. What can we do? It's the mighty El Salvador. What influence could we possibly have over what this Andrew Tate impersonator does? The press did ask Nayib Bukele about this, and this was his answer, just taking a page out of Donald Trump's rambling nonsense bullshit playbook, talking about smuggling the guy back into the country. When he just arrived by airplane, he could have brought him back aboard the plane he arrived in.
I asked
¿Se lo liberaría, Presidente Bukele?
Can President Bukele weigh in on this? Do you plan to return him?
Well, I'm supposed to not suggesting that I smuggle a terrorist into the United States, right?
It's only
How can I return him to the United States? Like, could I smuggle him into the United States, or whether of course I'm not going to do it. It's like, I mean, the question is preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist into the United States? I don't have the power to return him to the United States.
But you could release him inside El Salvador.
Yeah, but I'm not releasing, I mean, we're not very fond of releasing terrorists into our country. We just turned the murder capital of the world to the safest country in the Western Hemisphere, and you want us to go back into the releasing criminals so we can go back to being the murder capital of the world? That's not going to happen.
Well, they'd love to have a criminal, released into our
I mean, there's a fascination.
They would love it. But
Yeah.
they're sick. These are sick people. Marco, do you have something to say?
Yeah, I mean, Stephen outlined it. I don't understand what the confusion is.
The question is preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist into the United States? Of course I'm not going to do it. The question is preposterous. You're not smuggling a terrorist back into the United States. You wouldn't even be smuggling anything. You wouldn't be bringing a criminal back. He was afforded zero due process. He is not MS-13. He is not name a gang, name a criminal entity and an enterprise. He's not a part of that. He has been a legal resident who has broken no laws in the United States for almost 15 years. And the only reason he didn't apply for asylum is because he didn't do it within his first year in the country. And there are regulations and statutes of limitations relative to when you can apply for asylum if you've been here for so long. This is a human rights abuse, but it's also an abuse in ignoring of the United States Constitution. Again, the documents that Republicans use as a prop, and they have no loyalty to it whatsoever. Now, when asked about this SCOTUS question, Donald Trump did not answer, and that should tell you everything you need to know. Caitlin Collins has actually been asking all these questions. Caitlin Collins from CNN. She has to sit there and suffer the abuse of Donald Trump, the low-rated anchor on CNN. Ugh. We'll talk later about Donald Trump's ratings and his polling numbers. They're cratering, to say the least. But she asked directly, you said that if SCOTUS said someone needed to be returned, you would abide by that. You said that on Air Force One just a few days ago. And instead of answering the question, what he does is, can't you just say thank you? Can't you just say it's great that we don't have criminals here anymore? None of that's true. There's been afforded zero due process. They're violating the Constitution at every step, and he's asking for praise while he does it. Watch this moment.
Well, Mr. President, you said that if the Supreme Court said someone needed to be returned, that you would abide by that. You said that on Air Force One just a few days ago.
How long do we have to answer this question from you? Why don't you just say, isn't it wonderful that we're keeping criminals out of our country? Why can't you just say that?
Well, it's illegal.
Why do you go over and over? And that's why nobody watches you anymore. You have no credibility. Please, go ahead.
President Trump, thank you so much. How many illegal criminals are you planning on exporting to El Salvador, and President Bukele, how many are you willing to take from the U.S.?
As many as possible. And I just asked the president, it's this massive complex that he built, jail complex. I said, can you build some more of them, please?
And then I ended with that question just to show you the juxtaposition between legitimate journalists in the room and idiot sycophants who are there to pepper Donald Trump with the easiest questions in the world for him that are predicated and they're based on a presupposition that what he says is true. How many illegal criminals are you? Donald Trump. We are in the middle of a constitutional crisis. We need political leaders who are going to stand up. We need somebody to stand up and do something. Do we not? We need more than Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries saying that the power that they hold as elected political leaders, as leaders of the other elected leaders, that, well, the power we hold is to shape public opinion. That's the power I have, Hakeem Jeffries. That's the power I have and those in the media have. Your role is to actually wield political power. We need an opposition party, not a party that's taking a nap, laying down on the job, asleep at the wheel, as Donald Trump runs roughshod over the country, over the co-equal branches of government, over the rights of human beings who have lived here for nearly decades, who've done nothing wrong, broken no laws, done nothing wrong. And now, maybe will never be returned to their family. Maybe we'll never see their children again because they're in a foreign gulag at the behest of Donald Trump, at the ignoring of the Supreme Court's order. Anyway, what do you think? I invite you to this conversation. You can comment below. That always works great for the algorithm to share this content with new possible subscribers. On that note, if you're not subscribed, it's free to subscribe. Click the subscribe button and join the 1.1 whatever million who have chosen to do so. I would appreciate it very much. You can also call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. This is important. Big things are happening here. And unless someone actually does something, we are losing our country rapidly. Follow me on social media. I'm at Dollemore just about everywhere. And I will see you next time. Until then, be genuine. Take care of one another. Are you tired of your entree growing cold while you're stuck outside smoking near the restaurant entrance? Or perhaps you're craving a puff, but you're stuck in the airport for the next several hours. And that's if you don't get delayed. Or possibly you've just had enough of your clothes smelling like smoke. Don't get up, get your nicotine fix right there or anywhere for that matter with Zippix nicotine toothpicks. Socially acceptable yet discreet, Zippix toothpicks not only serve as an excellent nicotine delivery service, they also satisfy the oral fixation associated with smoking and vaping. You don't have to hit the bricks to get your fix. Instead, try Zippix. Head to zippixtoothpicks.com today and score 10% off by using code Dollemore at checkout. Available in 6 delicious flavors with 2 and 3 milligram options, Zippix are perfect for long flights, restaurants, and all those other places where you're no longer allowed to smoke or vape. Zippix are also one of the most cost-effective nicotine products on the market, and they're proudly made right here in the United States. Why not give your lungs a break? Hundreds of thousands of customers count on Zippix for their nicotine fix without needing to inhale toxic smoke or vape oils. Or maybe you're just looking for a boost. Zippix also offers caffeine and B12 infused toothpicks too. Stop interrupting your life with cigarettes and vapes. Go to zippixtoothpicks.com today and score 10% off by using code Dollemore at checkout. You must be 21 years or older to order and be warned that nicotine is an addictive chemical. Nix that fix with Zippix nicotine toothpicks.